This is a public service announcement. Do not watch Meghan Markle's With Love Series 2 on Netflix because this series is so goddamn bad, the thought of a Series 3 is just too impossible to even bear. But the good news is I have assembled my crack team of royal avengers and we have sat through all 283 minutes to provide you with every awkward interaction, every dig at the British royal family, and every cringe lie about Prince Harry, so you do not have to watch. Look at that lineup. Joining me today for our episode-by-episode rundown, our royal mastermind and Prince Harry's biographer, Angela Levin. Author, councillor, and Meghan's estranged sister, Samantha Markle. Royal YouTube sensation, Stephanie and Nancy Sidley, known as the Sidley Twins, and Lauren Lunn Farrow, one of the UK's top celebrity PR professionals. And boy, oh boy, there are a load of lowlights for us to pore over, like this sick-inducing claim that it was Harry who said he loved her first.
Really get to know somebody when you're in a little tent together, and there's like, what is that outside? What is that outside?
Yeah.
That's an elephant. How are you gonna be safe? Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Did you tell him first or did he tell you?
He told me.
Oh, that's nice. That's really... You started to blush. I almost stopped the line of questioning.
Or just how horrible it was to be in the UK for the funeral of the late Queen.
Oh, I know. The longest I went without being around our kids was almost 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I was not well.
Then we get the reintroduction of Hollywood's biggest ever bully, Chrissy Teigen.
So I'm so excited that I get to see Chrissy again. I haven't seen her in almost 20 years, and then I reached out and we reconnected just a couple years ago. And I think she loves getting creative in the kitchen, and I'm also told she loves crafting with her kids. So I planned some fun activities.
And Meghan then being very put out when she decided to bring her much more famous husband, John Legend.
Knock, knock. No, John's actually here too. He wants to say hi. Oh, John, come on in. Sorry. Cute.
We're just lurking back here. You've been seeing you. How's everything?
Everything's good. I would have told H to come. Thank you. Little full up here.
How much you gonna shoot?
Well,
Oh, and of course she's the best mom in the whole wide world.
So let's dress them up a few different ways. See, one thing I do with my kids, I will say that it takes a little bit more time. I like the presentation for
That's
them.
next level. Okay.
Archie will say, oh, Mama, that looks beautiful.
Wow.
Sure he does. Meghan's gay BFF Daniel Martin, there for the ride too, of course. Or as Nancy Sidley put it, literally Michael and Jan from The Office. Watch.
she's looking so cute.
Okay, we're dolled up. We are dolled up. All right, team.
she's looking so cute.
Okay, we're dolled up. We are dolled up. All right,
Oh,
team.
look at his face. Netflix had to use everything off the cutting room floor, even cringe moments like this.
Put some ice.
How did you get into mixology?
How did I get it? That's a very good question. So I was a lawyer in New York, and
Did you watch Suits?
no, I don't watch basic cable.
Prince Harry didn't bother to show up, of course. He features in one new photograph alongside the woman who cooked their wedding food. That's it. But of course, the royal family are attacked with Meghan pulling out her old lines like this one. You know, you'd have to imagine at the beginning it's all butterflies, but then we immediately went into the trenches together. Yes, there's all of that. And she says that they're now just so happy 7 years later that this feels like it's more of a honeymoon period for us now. Sure, Jan. And she, of course, slammed her own family, saying she didn't grow up among foodies, only learned to cook by watching TV chef Rachel Ray's 30-minute meals once she lived alone in college. So, to my superstar panel, Samantha Markle, your sister, slagging off the way your father raised her yet again.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because we all saw her mentioning, how great he was in the Tig, but we also saw from Musso and Frank, you know, I mean, what kid goes to Musso and Frank where shrimp cocktails are $16 and qualifies then as a latchkey kid? You know, she was around so much beautiful food. Her mom could cook. Dad took her to the best restaurants in Los Angeles. So, but there was a reference in here where she talked about having close access to a lot of food. So which is it? Were you a latchkey kid or were you around a lot of great food? I mean, she switches back and forth. It's really confusing. But yeah, it felt like there were digs at our family. And certainly, as we will talk about more in depth a little bit later, digs at the royal family that I thought were so atrocious.
Oh, yes. And she uses whatever story suits the narrative. So look, as we just saw then, can you believe it? Episode 1 starts with the return of the god-awful Daniel Martin. Now, he is the sycophantic gay BFF makeup artist who is there as Meghan promises him, we have new friends coming in. And he repeats after his boss, double date. And sure enough, this double date makes it very, very clear that it's going to be all on Meghan's terms with Daniel Chang, the Michelin star chef and entrepreneur, and Christina Tosi, another chef and entrepreneur. Meghan witters to the gay BFF. David and Christina are really great friends, and I thought the four of us could be a really cool alchemy. To which Daniel replies, I can't believe they're coming here. Like, that's so awesome. Now, just to prove this is an old episode, Meghan's dead dog, Guy, turns up again. And there are some attempts to humanize our protagonist. At one point, she's doing Daniel's makeup, where she asks, do you want me to powder you? And he says she's going to help assist her out here. Christina at one point asks how her and Daniel Martin met. And he says it's in 2019. And she says lots of chapters. Christina replies, he knows everything. And Meghan says very firmly, lots of chapters. And then, believe it or not, they literally cook a fried egg. Yes, a fried egg, which they then grossly eat because these guys don't ever sit down to eat a meal. They stuff their face with their mouths open around the table. And of course, Meghan uses the breakfast story to talk about the fact that she's so good because she always makes her children's breakfast. And little Lily already seems like she's one of these woke Californians. I mean, how old is she? 3? But apparently, Lily's always asking Meghan, can she have some chia seeds in her breakfast because she wants to have freckles. Meghan at points takes her guests into the craft room as if they are children. And in this first episode, we actually move on to Meghan's love of water marbling. Although the only problem is she admits that she's never, ever done it before. The flower sprinkles are back too. And to be honest, at the end of the day, I found this episode an incredibly dull launch. One of the only major things that I noticed is that for about 3 seconds at the very end, a QR code appeared on screen. And I thought, okay, maybe this is Netflix finally saying we're going to back as ever and put some promotion into it. I went to the QR code on my phone, and no. It is a link to the Netflix website to dumb. So Sidley Twins, it hardly feels like Netflix are really backing her here. There's no mention of the As Ever products.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Netflix again is squeezing the turnip. This was not season 2. This was obviously part 2. Yeah, and I think they wanted to bury this. I think putting it out on a Tuesday, this is Labor Day week for Americans. So this is usually like the time people go out of town and they're gone until Sunday because then school starts next week. And I just can't imagine anybody sitting at home watching this and being excited over it. But it was mind-boggling, the crafting. Because Dan, I was a kindergarten teacher in Southern California. I worked at a private school. All the things that she did in the crafting room were things that I would do with my kindergarten kids. It's almost like she bought a book on like how to do science experiments and artwork with your kids, and then she put it on the show. It was that is what blew my mind more than anything.
She keeps admitting throughout this whole show. I mean, this is meant to be us learning from her, and she keeps admitting, Angela Levin, at various points, this is the first time I've done this. Learn along with me. I mean, Angela, what did you make of it?
Oh, I made thousands of things about it, but let me just finish the one about, Daniel Martin.
Oh, yes.
She went on to do the flowers, and he did a very small posy of flowers, which was absolutely beautiful. And somebody there said, oh, that was lovely. Meghan said, yes, lovely. And didn't turn around and didn't look. And I thought, there was Meghan, the essence of Meghan. She can't bear it, even when she's making a party and she's doing this for Netflix. She can't actually say, that was beautiful, that was better than mine and anybody else who's trying.
She's annoyed that he was stealing the limelight.
Well, he was scared. He was scared to bits, actually. You could see that he was really, really nervous because he had to do a competition with her, with the two other cooks, and he didn't know what to do. And throughout the whole thing, Meghan had a hardness about her that if anybody disagreed with her or didn't do what she wants, it was the end. I mean, she was the executive producer, which was a nonsense, really, because she didn't know what she was doing. But she felt that she had to tell us how to fill a case, how we can cover a book. I mean, she was doing things absolutely that didn't work for anyone. And as you said, gals, that they're doing things that you did to tiny little girls. And she was doing the same to us, that we were also extremely stupid, extremely knowing nothing, and that she had to tell us how to do everything. But the other thing I thought was that when anyone came in, she gave them a huge hug. She didn't like them. She didn't want to know anything about them. But she must have told them, I want a huge hug, and I want you to smile, and I want you to laugh, and that you'll get X money. But I don't think she did. They didn't want to do that. But that's what they did. So everyone came in, laughed like a hyena, giggled to pieces. I mean, it was just so phony. It was so revolting in that way. You can't bear it. I got a headache. I had to take some aspirin.
Yes. Oh my God, me too. Me too. All 283 minutes. Lauren Lunn Farrow, your verdict. Big news. Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I didn't think it could be worse than the first series.
But it is.
In fact, it is. And, I have a real issue with the fact that she has no qualifications within what she's trying to teach us about. She's got over £50,000 of Cartier jewellery on one wrist. And I feel it's just ludicrous that she thinks people can relate to this and making, there was so many kind of annoying like dog noises like, and I just honestly, after the first episode, I thought this is just continuing. I just think, no one can relate to this. She's trying to rip off Martha Stewart.
100%. 100%. Okay, we move on to episode 2, where Meghan decides to introduce Hollywood's most famous bully. A woman who she admits she hasn't seen for 20 years, Chrissy Teigen, since they were appearing on Deal or No Deal as box models together, but for some reason, who she decided to reach out to last year even though she's getting rid of all of her other friends who are involved in any type of public controversy, including Tyler Perry. Now, Meghan describes Chrissy this way. She says, Chrissy Teigen's coming. She's the quintessential multi-hyphenate, model, mum, entrepreneur, cookbook author, and all-round foodie. But she did forget to mention also the biggest internet troll in show business. Meghan said, I'm so excited to see Chrissy again. I haven't seen her in 20 years, but I reached out and reconnected just a couple of years ago. Now, she arrives with John Legend, which is really odd because he is sitting there behind set for the entire filming period, for what must be hours. It's very, very odd. And Meghan says, oh gosh, if I'd known that you were bringing John Legend, I would have bought H. So that was really odd. Then they start talking about children. And Meghan is, of course, always trying to prove that she's the greatest mother in the world. Chrissy struggles with that because she forgets her own child's birth date and actually has to ask John Legend, who yells out from behind the set. It is completely bizarre. And then there's the moment that the producers clearly wanted, but Meghan feels, I believe, deeply uncomfortable with, the deal or no deal conversation, where Meghan has to hark back to her time on that TV game show, and she's not happy to remind everyone. She does briefly tell an anecdote about how she used to stand with all of the models in a row in order to get her lashes done, but then almost tries to turn it back to a serious point, saying, I was just so happy to have health insurance. I got health insurance with that job. She's also clearly very envious of Chrissy Teigen, said that she left her job and within a year you got really, really famous. Actually, it was a really fascinating conversation because it prompted Chrissy to say, look, I wasn't competitive at all. So she very much picked up on the fact that Meghan was comparing the two of them. Meghan soon wraps up the conversation saying how far we've come. How was that for memory lane? And to me, it was just really, really obvious that she didn't like it. In the craft room, they fake laugh over the kids and do something very odd with flower petals before John Legend returns to take Chrissy home. Meghan says, thanks, John, for being so patient. Sidleys, this was weird.
The thing about Chrissy, though, can I say, because I used to follow her before the bullying allegations, and she would do a lot of cool videos on her Instagram page. This is Chrissy Teigen being her authentic self. Like, she really does, like, she's flighty like that. She's very codependent on John. And the fact that Meghan Markle was making me start to like Chrissy again just shows you how inauthentic Meghan was. But the thing that blew my mind was how she wanted to make crafts for her kids. She's like, we should make crafts for the kids. And I'm like, I'm thinking if I was 4 or 6 years old and my mom came home and said, I made crafts for you, what the heck am I going to do with, I want to make the crafts. I didn't understand what they were trying to do. The one thing that stood out to me the most was when Meghan and her were talking about deal or no deal, and Meghan had to make it very known that Chrissy Teigen was just an alternative. The alternate. She was the alternate model. Yeah. She was not the main one.
She was down the pecking order.
She was down the peck, exactly. And also because of the bullying allegations, did you notice, like, towards the end of that conversation, they were saying, but we always supported each other. Yeah. We were girls in Hollywood, and we were never like competitive with each other. I mean, they were really trying to make those bully girls go away. And why did Meghan keep making bread in every episode? Like Chrissy Teigen.
It's like all she knows how to do is make some damn toast. Every single episode, there's toast. It's either served with a gross anchovy or like apple butter, but it's always toast.
Yes. She was acting like Chrissy Teigen didn't know how to make sourdough bread. Like we didn't all learn how to make sourdough bread during the pandemic.
But
like
she
we're all
had
idiots.
zero
And it
confidence.
took Meghan 4 years for some reason to make that sourdough
trust
bread.
Me, I wouldn't be eating that sourdough bread because she had zero confidence. Sam Markle, I just want you to cast your mind back to the Deal or No Deal period, because at the time, was Meghan proud of that job? Because it feels like now she's super embarrassed about it.
Right. I mean, she had even expressed to me that she felt like she was above that. So no, she wasn't proud of it. But this whole thing here, in my opinion, feels like overly gushy self-showcasing and glorification. It's like, let's throw in little clips and little references to everything I've done because nobody's casting me now. So I'll be an executive producer, throw my company into it, do the Netflix show, and sort of like showcase myself, create a show that's like all about me and all about cute little laughing takes and cute little, as a deflection from some pretty horrific, in my opinion, bullying of Queen Elizabeth while she was dying of bone cancer. I mean, this is so close to such a sensitive incident. I don't care how many takes she does of Diana's jewelry close up in the shot, or little lovey-dovey hugging. Oh, I want people to feel loved when they come to my house. It doesn't deflect from that. Had she waited a few years, maybe, but like right now.
No, I can never forgive it. I can never forgive it, Sam. And I can never forget it.
It's a dig at the royal family. It's horrible.
Exactly. It never stops. Lauren, just from a PR point of view, I mean, why would she, at her stage of her career, where the bullying allegations are going wide against her, this is Meghan Markle, decide to so publicly team up with a woman who is completely associated with bullying and internet trolling? Like, is there any PR explanation to that, or is it just true desperation to get another A-lister?
Because I don't think they listen to anyone. I think they are in such a microcosm, surrounded by yes people, and the reality they live in is so hugely distorted. So if you look at how many people they're employing, there's a lot of people on the payroll, and we've seen them go through staff after staff member. I don't think people are telling them what they truly believe is their expert opinion and saying this isn't a good idea. And actually, if you look in this show, there's really kind of nauseating meaning behind everything. So Meghan's obviously curated everything herself. And I believe she probably thinks it's a massive coup to have Chrissy Teigen in, which is just wild.
Delusional. Totally delusional. Okay. Episode 3. I'm going to call this the gay episode because we get Tan France of Queer Eye there. He is obviously pushing his Netflix show because guess what? These two have never met. And of all of the people dragged in, it is very obvious to me that Meghan cannot stand this guy. She hates him, but she has to pretend to like him. Like there's a moment where he says right near the start, all Asians are loud. How are we not on TV more? And Meghan just stares at him with a gormless look as she makes another goddamn fruit platter. The two of them attempt to bond over their children. And this is when Meghan moans about the fact that she was away from her two kids and it left her feeling not well. This was, of course, for the late Queen's funeral, and she could have, of course, chosen to take her children to the United Kingdom. She chose not to. At one point, I would say, in the most newsworthy moment, Tan France, who's clearly been given a job by the producers, is asked if there's a specific moment where Meghan knew that her relationship with Harry was the real thing. And this is when Meghan gives that cringeworthy answer, talking about the fact that it was on the third date. They were camping together in Botswana in this little tent with elephants outside. And Tan France then asks, well, who said the L word first? And that's when Meghan says, he told me, with that very sort of proud as punch look. And I think that look sort of showed you Meghan was saying to the world, I got my man and I knew how to get my man. into the craft room. They make aprons for their kids, but it's very obvious that Meghan just hasn't woken up on the right side of the bed. She hates this. There's just no love or passion for what she's doing, and it shines through the screen. Even though Tan France, who I find incredibly annoying, is doing his best. I mean, she comes up with a couple of stories, like claims that she used to drive through the McDonald's for an apple pie if an acting audition went well. There's a couple of positive anecdotes about the United Kingdom, which is interesting given that she hated her time so much here. I mean, she claims that she loves chicken tikka masala, which she says or agrees is our national dish. Says that she's proud of tuning into Magic FM, which Tan France describes as a grandma's station. And at the end of this episode, the pair move to the beach for one of the most chemistry-less conversations we have to put up with, where she says, "Thank you so much for coming. Cheers, dear. I'm so glad we have finally got to hang out. I know. I love it." But Angela Levin, I honestly just really got the sense during this episode that Meghan could not stand this man. And of course, there was no chemistry because they'd never met before. He was clearly just there because he was a Netflix star.
Yeah, he was quite pleased to be there because he thought this would be fun. And she took one look at him and absolutely couldn't bear it. You could see it was written in large words across her face. She can't actually look nice if she doesn't want to, you know. She can be the girly, sweetie thing. But it was very interesting because she asked him, "Oh, you know, how did you meet your partner?" And he said, well, he'd just come out. And he thought that was very funny, hence the laughter. She hugs him because of that. And she said, what? He said, well, we got married, you know, straight away. They said, well, how could that be? You know, she thought, well, that's not right. I don't like that. So I'm really cross about it. And he sort of was apologising next with a cup of tea in his hand. But she just can't bear it. You know, it wasn't what she wanted to hear, because that was actually, you know, quite interesting, really. But she was, it rubbed into her stories and she didn't like it. And because he was very pleased and brave and wanted to know more about her, he wanted to know more about how she got hold of Prince Harry. And as you say, you know, she was absolutely furious that he asked him that question. You just don't do that to someone like her. And you know, when she sort of says, yes, when we were away out the third day, but it wasn't like that at all, because she put on Diana's perfume and stood in a room with the top of her legs showing and all the way down, looking ever so sexy. And Harry went in there and he said to me, he knew that she had found the right person. Harry knew that because she happened to wear the same perfume. And if ever you could hear such a stupid comment, of course she did that because she'd been following him. She'd been looking in all the details about him. And she thought, cunningly, that with the perfume, she would get him. And my goodness, didn't she?
I know. I mean, Sam, that was quite a look on her face, wasn't it? When she was like, yep, he told me first. And there was very much a sense of something I would argue she hasn't revealed in public before, which is just how proud of Punch she is about the fact that she had Harry wrapped around her little finger.
Yeah. And it wasn't a surprise. Again, what I zoomed in on were the repeated close-ups on Diana's jewelry. You know, not just the watch, the bracelets, but her rings. I mean, I can see when you're preparing food, having one or two casual shots that show your hand and the rings. But it seemed as though there were purposeful close-ups on that jewelry. And it really felt like a jab at the royal family. Like, look, not only did I get, you know, your family member and bring him to the States, he's mine now, and I'm going to keep reminding you all about that. But I got the jewels, you know, and I'm sorry, but that's my perspective. And why would you take a self-showcasing show that's really all about you and put those little jabs in there? They're really not part of what goes on in the kitchen. So the references to them, the body language, the little posing with the jewelry is, I think, very symbolic.
Well, yes, and there was another really interesting symbolic exchange in episode 4. So let's move on to this. It's with another woman who she's never met, the US chef, Salmon Nosrat. Now, I've never heard of her. She seems completely enamored to be there, totally obsessed with Meghan. I'd say quite woke. Meghan has prepared some more toast for this woman because we know all she seems to do is toast, and this time it has apple butter and apple on it. It looks awful, but she says that it's her grandmother's recipe. Is that right, Sam?
Our grandmother did make apple butter, but I've made it very clear in other interviews. By the time Meghan was able to interact with our grandmother, she had long ended her apple butter making days. She did that in the 70s with my brother and I, long before Meghan was born. So I think I felt like originally she used it to falsely impress Queen Elizabeth when she was alive, to garner that, that feminine monarchy, that to garner the, the patriarch's admiration for the woman thing. She had made reference to our grandmother and said, my grandmother, my queen. And I felt like whose strings is she milking, our families or Queen Elizabeth? Because it wasn't real and it felt like a desperate grasp at straws. But to do that about the apple butter, no. If she got the recipe from someone in the family, fine. But by no stretch was she making apple butter with our grandmother.
Okay, good.
That was ridiculous.
Good to clarify that. Then this intriguing conversation takes place between Meghan and Salmon Nosrat about colours. And we know why this matters, because Meghan, even today, is still claiming that the royal family forced her into wearing particular things. Forced her into wearing pantyhose, forced her into wearing neutral colours. Now, I know from having spoken to lots of people who worked with her during her time in the royal family, that is complete bullshit. But while selecting coloured paper to cover books that these two are making, like it's in the craft room, over champagne as you do, Meghan says, I will do something neutral. To which Salmon replies, if you are a neutral person, be a neutral person. Now, Meghan responds to that possibly in a nod to this row over her time within the royal family, says, yes, essentially, I am a neutral person. So, Sidley Twins, what do you think she was getting at here? And why on earth is she still pushing this myth, this total myth, that courtiers within the royal family tried to force her to wear neutral colours?
Because she is a pugilistic person and she likes to fight and she likes to be difficult. I mean, there's no, I think what she's trying to do is just try to act innocent. She's still trying to make herself look like this wasn't my fault. I did not do this. With the colors and everything. Even though there's proof that Princess Catherine has red nails, didn't always wear pantyhose. The problem is she has no receipts. She's just talking right now.
Of course.
I mean,
and it's like, this is a woman who turned up to the Invictus Games in ripped jeans. No one was going to tell Meghan what to wear. And so no one did. And then Angela Levin, we also get a tweak to the roast chicken story, the famous roast chicken story, on the night that her husband proposed, because of course she's roasting a chicken within this episode. And she now says that she made a terrible chicken that night, truly horrible, because she says that she was struggling with the oven due to the conversions between Celsius and Fahrenheit.
I don't believe that at all, because she'd been going to that cottage to have, be with Harry for quite a long time. And she did say she did things for him, she cooked for him because they wanted to be cozy. They didn't want to go out. This was the thing where she said it was a wonderful place because it was so cozy, they could do what they liked there. So I don't think that she never actually put on the oven. I think really she's sort of changing it a bit because Harry was absolutely desperate to ask her to marry him. He didn't do it on the third day, although she says that he did. He didn't. But that day he did, and she wanted it. Couldn't have cared less what he was eating, even bread at the time. And so that was it. So
Toast. She's good at that. She's good at that. And Lauren Lunn Farrow, you have picked up another lie in this episode in regards to Fuji apples. Please explain what you've discovered. But first, let's be honest, finding a doctor who isn't just parroting big pharma talking points, practically impossible these days. But one bold Texas doctor of physical therapy is cutting through the nonsense, revealing 7 powerful reasons why anyone over 50 should be drinking this one overlooked thing daily. And no, it's not milk, not some chalky calcium shake either, don't worry. It's a unique protein your body stops producing as you age, yet it's been shown to dramatically boost bone density, soothe joint pain, and even smooth out wrinkles and cellulite. Users are also seeing thicker hair, stronger nails, and faster results than you'd expect, some in just 2 weeks. And get this, over 5 million jars sold, more than 8,000 5-star reviews, and a 365-day money-back guarantee. That is confidence. So for my listeners, you can get up to 45% off this formula plus free shipping right now. Just head to trynativepath.com/outspoken.
We have a food industry that knows nothing about health and a health industry that knows nothing about food, right? And once you really understand that, you can see why we're in the problems that we are. We watch TV and they're feeding us all these foods that are refined and processed and get us sick. And the next commercial is a commercial about a pill that we're supposed to take. The forefront of what we do here at Native Path is we try to get people off the path of what most people are doing is eating that stuff and taking those pills and get them on the path to eating, moving, and living in harmony with their biology. Collagen is, in my opinion, it's the one thing that if you take it, everything else starts to get easier or unnecessary because it's so foundational in the structure of your body. We're deficient in this very important protein that our ancestors got plenty of. So it's a big part of what I say is important when we're aging. You have to have this as part of your diet.
Again, that's trynativepath.com/outspoken. No fluff, just results. Go see what the hype's about. And to watch my full, fascinating interview with the doctor, click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
So she said, these are our Fuji apples from the garden. And I thought, there's something just doesn't ring true about this because I don't believe a word she says. So I did some research. Now, in Montecito, you need between 300 and 400 chill hours a year for apples, specifically for Fuji apples to thrive. And Montecito has at max 200 chill apples a year. So I thought, oh yeah, of course it's more bullshit, because I just don't believe a word that comes from Meghan.
No, absolutely not. And then episode 5 is hilarious because Jamie Kern Lima, her annoying friend with the baby voice, gets the big thumbs down. You literally see and hear from this woman for a split second, which shows me that Meghan, by the way, how awful is her calligraphy? Can I just say, I can never read this damn woman's calligraphy. I think it's really bad. I know she's obsessed about it. She talks about it all the time. But Jamie Kern Lima, who we see here, Meghan doesn't even allow her to speak. And I think this does show how she is quite a nasty friend, actually, because it's like, oh no, everyone's turned off Jamie Kern Lima now, so we're going to pretty much edit her out of this episode. So she's very briefly seen as Meghan makes a trip to an olive oil farm or plant And then it becomes the vegan episode as Jay Shetty and his wife Radhi, a plant-based cookbook author, turn up. At least Meghan has met this pair before. She says they were at a dinner party at her friend Victoria's house. And Meghan's actually hilarious here because she cannot cope with people who do not drink alcohol. Honestly, I have never seen someone struggle so much with the concept of not drinking. Indeed, just like Series 1, the only time Meghan is truly happy and truly fulfilled is when she has a glass of alcohol in her hand. So in this episode, because these two don't drink, she makes such a big fuss. She almost humiliates them, actually, about how she's desperately going to try and make an alcohol drink, a non-alcohol drink for her non-drinking friends. And then they try to make vegan soap, as Meghan admits, I haven't done this before. So eventually, thank God, at this point, Shetty and his wife take over from the cooking. And again, they stand around the table, stuffing it into their face like prehistoric animals. I mean, Sidley's, I just thought, seriously, sit down and eat this properly. It was very bizarre.
All the episodes had a ton of dead air. I mean, it was just dead air. They were trying to find things to talk about. Jay Shetty, he's a life coach. He's a life coach. A cult leader. Yeah, I know. I think the problem with having Jay on there too is you can't have like two grifters on a show. You can only have one. I know. I kept getting like the thing that he was not fully there. And she used the word connect like 112 times in that episode. She kept going, this connects us, and this connect, like you could tell she and Jay Shetty and those people, they've all gotten together. The only thing Jay Shetty said in that episode is Meghan asked, she goes, have you ever been to Ojai? And he goes, yeah, we've done a few retreats with my book there. Yeah, he kept plugging his book and his cult leader stuff. I mean, I was waiting for like two Hare Krishners to walk into the room with some rosé, Kool-Aid, and Jim Jones. Yeah, but she really did alcohol shame them. Yeah,
yes, she did.
That's all I was waiting for. The first 5 minutes of the episode, she was like complaining about making flavored water. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Like she's like, okay, we're gonna try to make this taste, you know, but I feel like Jamie Kern-Lima paid to be on that episode, and so did Jay Shetty.
And then was pretty much left on the cutting room floor though when it came to Jamie Kern-Lima.
Yeah, it's like an ad for their books and their cookbooks and whatever they do. You know?
Sam, has Meghan always had such a thing about alcohol, which by the way I'm not judging her for. Genuinely, I mean, I like a drink, so I'm not judging on that front, but it's just the fact that she's so judgmental of people who don't drink. Was she always like that?
No, certainly not when she was young. I didn't notice it. You know, maybe when she got out and she was in Canada, things changed. But I mean, again, I think it was her Instagram page. It was really bizarre because she was talking about what she makes everybody for breakfast, H and the kids. And it looked like there was some crepes or omelets there, and there was a little bit of fruit. And then there was a bottle of rosé in the background. So I asked on X, I said, was the rosé for H or for the kids? It's like, why do you have rosé for breakfast in the morning? I don't know anybody that drinks with breakfast. So I thought that was really odd.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if she did. Then episode 6, oh my God, this one's dire. This one is absolutely dire. So she brings in a woman called Claire Smith. Bless her, clearly a very good chef, right? Michelin star chef. Was behind the wedding meal, the 2018 wedding meal. But my God, this woman lacks on-screen charisma, as does Meghan Markle. So this episode is one hell of a grind. But it's meant to be there to remind us and take us back to that wedding day. So like at one point, Meghan while preparing a dish, says, "This makes me think of our wedding venue. We had the map where everything was sourced and really wanted people to appreciate where every ingredient was coming from. I mean, that was the most delicious meal. People still talk about it." Claire then went on to talk about how she made another meal for Harry and Meghan, which was for their first anniversary. And there are also sort of little jokes about the different names for food items. And Meghan pulled out that line again about how Harry thinks it's weird that she says herbs and not herbs, and the fact that the kids both say zebra instead of zebra. We did get a couple of little glimpses. This was the only time we got any real glimpse into Harry. So we see a Polaroid picture of Harry with this woman, but it was very clear that he'd obviously agreed to have the picture, but not actually turn up to be on film. And then, of course, a couple of unseen pictures showing the table arrangements at the wedding. At one point, Meghan ventures out to the fish market because they're going to cook fish. You see, the episode is named about halibut, and Meghan hilariously has to guess, or chooses to try and guess, the weight of the halibut at the fish market. And she guesses that it was 23 pounds when it was only 8 pounds. Now, who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? Who would judge anyone about that? But my God, Meghan cares. This is a woman who cannot cope with being wrong. Even as she's basically being dragged out of the fish market, she's speaking to the fishmonger saying, "Well, you know, it's because I thought that I was carrying the weight of my daughter." And you think, oh my goodness, you either have no idea of the weight of your daughter because you actually never pick her up, because why are you so desperate here to try and convince us that there's a reason why you got this wrong? Now, I will say, thank the Lord, because we actually have a chef with a Michelin star and a little bit of class to her, Meghan does actually agree to sit down at the end. This is the only time she actually sits down to eat with a knife and fork and without her mouth wide open and her fingers everywhere. And to me, Angela Levin, I was like, okay, that's a bit of a relief. But this episode, Angela, was clearly meant to sort of take us back and reminisce about the 2018 wedding. But I guess so much has happened since then, Angela. It's very hard to feel nostalgic about it in a positive way.
No, it's a very negative way, isn't it?
Well, it
But
is for
I agree
me.
with you completely with this. But also, it was halibut that she gave Meghan, which is a very expensive, very beautiful fish. And I think she was paid to show Meghan how to do it, because she did one for her and she talked to her, she did it. And when Meghan did slice it, not badly, and she said, "Oh, that was excellent, Meghan. That was marvelous." And Meghan was absolutely delighted, because somebody who was an expert was really giving her encouragement and saying that she's a very, very good cook because she knows how to cut into halibut. And they talked about all the other things, but she actually nearly was sick over the sort of some of the things that she showed her that she couldn't bear to look. And she said, "Harry doesn't like some of this fish. That's it." And she said, "Oh, really?" She said, she whispered it as if it was the most terrible secret. But I think this woman came in as an experienced cook who actually could talk a little bit about their wedding and then tell her that she's brilliant, because Meghan needs to be brilliant. If she misses it for a couple of hours, and she's sort of falling apart.
Yeah, but Lauren Lunn Farrow, like, as a piece of entertainment, by this point, With Love, Meghan has like fallen off a damn cliff. It is impossible to see how anyone sane by this point is sitting through this and watching, because you don't learn anything. There's nothing fun. There's no excitement. There's no interesting characters. I mean, I see why Netflix held this episode back to near the very end. But given how bad the ratings were for the first series, I can't see them improving at all, Lauren. Can you?
No, and I actually think the time has changed. We don't want highly scripted, highly aspirational content. We've seen that. No one cares about the Kardashians anymore. You know, people are struggling. They're struggling all around the world. And I just think it's what I found most offensive about this was it was so fake and it was so curated and it was made out like everything was, oh, I've just got to get these out of the oven. And obviously we know someone else had put them in the oven and, you know, let's go for a walk on the beach. It's like, well, your walk on the beach, you would have had to get, you know, permits for the drone flying for the shots. You would have had to clear all of those permits. There was, you know, you did it at sundown, which people that work in kind of photography will know it's the most flattering lighting. I just felt it was disingenuous.
And it's not her house.
It's not her house. And actually, when she said, you know, we've planted this allotment, well, you haven't planted the allotment. No. I planted some carrots. They have taken me a lot of time over the last 4 months. I won't be doing it again. Her allotment, rather, or whoever's it was huge, you know, and there's no way the production company have rented that house for longer than they absolutely had to film.
100%. And I mean, by the time we get to episode 7, they're in true struggle street. This is the shortest episode by a long way. It is less than half an hour long. And they're completely desperate at this point, even though this is the episode which is meant to be paying tribute to California after the wildfires. So what Meghan decides to do is go to reunite with her old pal Heather Dorak, another Californian bimbo with nothing to say. Nothing to say. And we see 4 minutes of Meghan packing her damn overnight bag. 4 minutes. Revealing how she likes to take things that bring her joy, including a blue PH 40 baseball cap that she made for her husband's 40th birthday, photos of her family, and of course, fabric softener towels between her clothes. She really thinks we care about her clothes too. Meghan insists that the reason she dresses monochromatically is not because it's the most stylish thing, but because she thinks it's really easy. She speaks about this old pal, Heather, and sort of says it's so awesome to be in your 40s. We're in a different era. But fundamentally, there's nothing going on between these two. So they have to go to a bar. And again, Meghan's very happy at the bar. Very, very happy. Again, I think this is where she's most comfortable. And again, people might think I'm being facetious, but genuinely, I think she should probably make a show about alcohol because it's the only time when I genuinely see Meghan expressing any sort of joy. Not when she's making food, but she loves the alcohol, and that's fine. So she's making cocktails with this guy, Payman Bamani Bailey, and talking about the fact that she used to be a hostess at Mirabelle. And then, bizarrely, sort of out of nowhere, comes this dedication at the end of the episode, which says this episode filmed in the heart of Malibu is dedicated to the first responders and all those affected by the devastating fires that swept through communities across California in early 2025. With love to all our neighbors. And Sidley Twins, that's it. I mean, we heard for weeks and for months how Meghan wanted this show to be some type of tribute to Southern California after the wildfires, and that was all we got. A cocktail making session with her old mate and a graphic at the end.
I wrote in my notes, something happened because we knew there was more with Heather because she did that pineapple thing, remember? And they, do you remember, like, we put that little thing where Meghan was like,
a small bite.
yeah, and she's like, look, you take the pineapple, but that was on the cutting room floor, but they still showed it on Netflix or her thing. But something happened. Either Heather doesn't do well on camera, or there just wasn't, they did footage where maybe Meghan was walking in the Palisades and showing the devastation, and maybe then they said, you know what, this is probably a bad idea to film this. Oh wait, but it was before the fires, right? Then I'm confused. The whole episode was a mess. It was a mess.
There was no chemistry.
There was no, it was like they had just met or something. Yeah, the pineapple one. They didn't
and we
even
never
show
saw that. We never saw it.
Well, yeah. But Meghan kept talking over the bartender, and Heather was just kind of in the background, uncomfortable the whole time. And then even when she gave her the sugar cookies with her jam in it, Heather's like, "Yeah, that's great." Like the whole,
And it was weird, and it was so
really awkward.
so short. I mean, I think you're right. A lot did end up on the cutting room floor, and maybe it is because some of the content was considered too inappropriate to be in the episode dedicated to the fires. But I mean,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But
I think the LA wildfires were definitely a huge sore spot for America, obviously, and
I think they
the West
decided to
Coast.
probably cut
And they
it out.
probably said, okay, you know what? This is very disrespectful.
We need to cut it out.
Harry and Meghan were walking on grave sites
Yes. Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
We should probably take this out.
Yeah.
but
You know,
Sam
that's
Markle,
my-
I mean, it's no tribute though, is it?
No, and I think Stephanie pointed out perfectly. I mean, first of all, I'll say that this wasn't a tribute to anyone but herself, in my opinion. And even Stephanie said this whole thing felt really disorganized. I mean, to the extent that I think they should have just titled it "A bunch of really boring, unattractive middle-aged people get together, pretend to be friends, and try and figure out what to do." It's like it was just such a modge podge. And I think I think the Malibu thing at the end is an insult, wrapped in a bow of and a box of self-glorification. To try to say, look at me, I was there and I care. And you're right, that's all it was. It wasn't a tribute. It wasn't a tribute to grandmothers. It wasn't a tribute to family. It wasn't a tribute to real friends, because we didn't get the sense that they are real friends. It felt very scripted.
Yeah. Well, I know.
And weird. It was just
And the
awful.
whole thing is bizarre. I mean, Sidley, you've pointed out how one of the photos of Meghan and Heather, this was you, Nancy, looks totally photoshopped. And there's just so much of this which is fake. But look, then we come on to the final episode, and I have to say, they've done a lot of work. They have done a lot of work with the final episode. And thank God for the celebrity chef, Jose Andre of World Central Kitchen, who actually manages to bring like a tiny little bit of spark to this desperate and dying show, because he actually makes Meghan Markle laugh. He actually tries to make them do something interesting. Meghan describes him as a dear friend, and it truly is the only person who she actually seems to like. It doesn't start well, though, because they're eating damn toast again, this time toast covered in anchovies. But then Meghan decides, okay, I'm going to try and prove to the world, and this is very transparent, but I'm going to try and prove to the world what a great boss I am by throwing a big party for the crew of the show where Jose is going to do the cooking. It's quite bizarre because at one point they're out on a boat, then they come back to this venue where the staff turn up. And at that point, I would argue it is the highlight of what is a very, very trying series. And it's all down to this man, Angela Levin. It is all down to this man who is able to actually show what someone on screen should be like when they're talking about food and drink. You know, funny and charismatic and passionate about what they do.
Yeah, I don't think he was frightened of her. I think all the others were awkward and they didn't say the wrong thing. I think he wasn't frightened of her because he knows her well and he can read her very easily. And so, you know, he just controlled it all. And I think she was delighted because it took the effort off of her, but she did trust him. She was a bit shocked that he brought so much cheese in, actually. She wasn't pleased about that, but he couldn't care less. And I think someone who she could smell that he was happy and he wasn't going to take any notice of what she said against what he wanted to do. So it went quite smoothly. And all the staff, I didn't realize it was for the staff, but all of them seemed happy. And of course, she could then pretend what a lovely person she is to all the people who work for her. And thank you so much. And I'm so grateful and all that. So it really went well for her. And I think that's thanks to him, really.
But Lauren, I mean, she feels, I mean, I agree with all of that from Angela, but I still think she feels uncomfortable. It feels like she's trying to prove something to the world as a PR opportunity to hit back at all of the very well-sourced revelations of bullying, by the way, from both sides of the Atlantic, from multiple credible journalists and outlets now. And the fact that she hosts a party that she hasn't paid for her Netflix crew, I'm sorry, it's not going to convince me.
So I'm glad you picked up on that, because this party actually leaked in the press some time ago. And when it leaked, something about it was really strange to me. I thought, how are they affording, it was how it was presented to the public. I thought, how are they affording as a company as a startup company really, to then throw these events and then obviously Netflix were paying. So, it all makes sense. And actually, just on that point, with the Malibu fires and the Malibu episode, that was filmed at Soho Beach House in Malibu, or Malibu House, I think it's called, because I've been there. So my gut instinct says to that they were either not sticking to filming regulations, how they got a pass to film there, I don't know. But I would imagine there would have been lots of wide angle Malibu shots, showcasing the beauty of Malibu, which would be hugely distasteful now. Because if you look at the shots that they did end up using in that episode, they're incredibly tight. To me, it looks like they've cropped the footage, because you would never shoot a scene that tight, ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just a bit desperate too, isn't it, Siddies? Because, like, at the end of the day, this crew on this show are very privileged people, right? They're working on a Netflix production. They're being paid huge amounts of money. I mean, are we meant to feel sympathy for them? I didn't really understand it, apart from Meghan admitting that she's a nightmare to work with.
I feel sympathy now because I don't think Netflix is ever going to give her a staff of 80.
Never
didn't
again.
she say she had like a crew?
Over
I don't think they're
staff.
ever gonna. You're never gonna see that quality production again. Jose Andres, he had a show on CNN that was a lot like that quality, and
he's been on Bravo.
I mean, he knows what he's doing, but as far as quality goes, you're never gonna see that kind of Netflix money again. And I don't really feel sorry for them. They'll go on to do other things, and I'm sure they were fine. But did anyone else notice that Meghan was completely grossed out by everything Jose was making?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you guys notice that?
Yeah, Sam. Like, Sam, she's
kept
not a
making these
foodie,
faces.
is she, Sam? Like, she
was grossed out.
I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think she was grossed out. I think she might have been jealous. And if you want to talk about being grossed out, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know any affluent people who get together and literally sit there and stuff their faces to where you can see food and sauce all over their mouth, put their fingers on stuff, put their fingers in hair, put it on the food. That grossed me out. So if she wants to talk about being grossed out, let's like look back over the whole thing.
Totally.
And just how it was choreographed.
Totally. Well, look, I have to thank all of you, because this was like community service. I feel like I've put you all through community service today, but it was for a very, very good reason, right? Because I hope now, and I think you can trust us, we have told you everything you need to know about this series. Like, there's nothing else you're going to discover by dipping into Netflix, okay? Do not give this woman the views, the hate views, because this has to be the end of what has been a torturous chapter. But thank you so much to the fabulous Angela Levin, our royal mastermind, Prince Harry's biographer, Samantha Markle, the author, councillor, and Meghan Markle's estranged sister, Sidley Twins, host of the brilliant Twin Talks, which you must subscribe to on YouTube. and Lauren Lunn Farrow, who is now on Instagram, one of the UK's top celebrity PR professionals. And of course, if you do want first access to our uncancelled after show, where you get this type of coverage every single weekday, the sort of royal analysis and news that you simply will not get from the mainstream media, then please do sign up to my Substack. www.outspoken.live is the address. As I say, you'll get first look at the Royal Uncancelled After Show Monday to Friday with no advertising whatsoever. You can either watch it live or on demand, whichever you prefer. And Substack is a real community. It's an important platform for me. You can message me directly on there. But why I'm so keen on Substack is that it is a free speech platform where I am protected from lawfare and big tech cancellation. So that address, www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much. Don't go and watch With Love Meghan Series 2, whatever you do. It's bad for your health. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.